Hi, welcome to Alton Brown Cooks Food. I'm Alton Brown, and food is what I'm going to cook here. Today I'm talking about my very favorite cuts of meat, and beef. I should have said beef specifically. And here they are. And odds are good that you're going to recognize some of these, but maybe not all of them. We have here what is called the outside skirt steak. Then we have the inside skirt steak. And then we have the hanger steak. Okay, now all of these come from the same cut or sub-primal of beef. Come right over here with me, if you please. Here we are. Here, of course, yes, I know this is a cow, not a steer. It should be a steer, but the steers were too expensive. So all of the glamorous cuts are all up here, right? You got your rib and your short loin and stuff like that, where the filet mignon comes from. But down here, in what I call the engine room of the cow, we've got the flank, and more importantly, what's called the plate, often referred to as the short plate. There's a lot going on in here. There's ribs. There's diaphragm, there's all kinds of stuff. There's some delicious meat going on in here around all these lungs and organs and things. But they do take some special care to deal with. So remember, down here, the plate. Okay, so as we look at the plate cuts, I'm just gonna tell you right now, one of these we're not gonna deal with today. We're not going to deal with the hanger steak today. And the reason that we're not going to deal with the hanger steak is the hanger steak is my steak for making what's called steak frite. And that's just going to have to be a show all of its own. So setting that aside. Now, a lot of you probably are very familiar with skirt steak, but you may not have known that there are indeed two very different cuts. Okay, now let's say you go to a really good Central American restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, and you have the fajitas. Very good chance that those fajitas will have been made with what is called outside skirt steak. This is actually a piece, the very edge piece of the diaphragm. Okay, it is not tender per se, but is tender-ish, and it lends itself very well to high heat cooking, specifically grilling, which we will soon see. And also, well, I'm gonna skip the marinade part for a second. Now, kind of the dark horse, sorry, that's a mixed meat metaphor. We probably won't be dealing with horse on this show anytime soon, unless we're making Belgian fries, which are cooked. Never mind, you don't wanna know that. Then we have what is called the inside skirt. And the inside skirt is completely different. It's a different muscle. It is actually, I always have to look because my Latin is so bad. It is the from the transversus abdominis. I always think that I'm naming an early pope when I say that. And this muscle is not part of the diaphragm. It is, in fact, what is referred to as a corset muscle. Holds things in. And that is what the inside skirt does. It holds in the internal organs. You would think that maybe the outside is on the outside and that the inside is on the inside. No, that is not actually the case at all, because when the butchers quarter things up and lay them out, it is only when the subprimal, the plate subprimal is laid out so that the butcher is looking at the innermost part of it, that this is considered the outside. It is the outside of the cut from the butcher's perspective, way down deep. And this thing literally is just kind of like right on the surface, right? Easy to get to. This is a flavorful piece of meat. It is not tender, anywhere close to as tender as what you would expect out of, say, good fajitas. Not that they can't be produced. There is a lot of flavor there. This guy, this nice, long stretch, it's like you can make a boa, out of it, is what most people think of when they think of fajita meat. It is harder to find. We will be doing something with both of these, and both of them are a little bit unusual, I would say. And you know what we're gonna do? We are going to start with the inside, which is technically on the outside, as you look at the cow, but not if you're on the inside of the cow, which is what butchers do. Okay, we cook. Step 1, set your immersion circulator to heat 2.5 liters of H2O to 130 degrees. Now, as you can see, mine's already nice and hot. What can I say? I cheated. By the way, you do have one of these, don't you? If not, well, I know what to get you for Christmas. All right, there's a bit of slicing and dicing to be done here. We need 1 medium yellow onion. And I'm just gonna French that. So take off both the ends, including that little part of the stem that holds it together, and then cut it radially, thusly. Don't have to get it perfect, all right? This is fine. We'll call it rustic. Then there's the garlic. Just gonna crunch this open. We need 2 to 3 cloves, depending on their size. And, ooh, this one's already sprouted. That's gonna be bitter. Don't want that. I usually just give them a pop to get the skin to loosen and come off. These onions are like killing me. And then slice thinly. Notice there's a little brown spot there. I don't care about that. Perfect. Ooh, get that stem out though. That's not perfect. All right, I've got a quart jar with a clean and tightly sealing lid. That is very important. And about half of the onion's gonna go down into the bottom with a little bit of the garlic. Just eyeball it, no measurements here. That's fine. And now the meat. I'm gonna liberally season that with kosher salt and a little bit of black pepper, or a lot. This is my favorite spice with any form of beef cut. Black pepper for beef. Okay, now rub on some tallow. That is refined or sometimes purified, actually, beef fat. And I like to do this with my hands because you know what? It just feels good. Yeah, feels nice. Just kind of massage that in. It's a relatively lean cut, so I want some more fat brought to this party. It's also gonna help to flavor the braising liquid that will result from all of this. There. Oh, but I need to salt the other side. My hands are, hold on a sec. Okay, there you go. Just get some salt and pepper on both sides, if you can. It's completely screwed with the pepper. Look, you're gonna have to wash your hands. Just go over to the sink. Just go wash your hands. We'll wait. There, okay. Next step. I've got some Calabrian chilies here. Now this can be strong stuff, depending on the brand and the preparation. And I add, I'll say a tablespoon, just smeared right onto one side of the meat. This is gonna be a little on the spicy side. Oh, don't. You don't wanna do that. Okay. Going to add a little bit of the garlic directly to the meat, just one side. More of the black pepper, now that my hands are clean to handle the thing. And now we roll the meat up tightly into a cylinder. Just roll it up, tight as you can get it. That's important here. It's gonna feel kind of unnatural. Trust me though. Perfect. Kind of looks like a meaty Coke can. Now we're literally going to shove that with a twisting action into the jar. So it's more of screwing, I guess. And I may have not rolled mine quite tightly enough, but I'm not gonna start over because I'm committed at this point. There you go. Just get that all into the jar. And the top with the remaining aromatics, the onion, garlic. I think you dropped some there. Okay. One more ingredient to go here. You're gonna get yourself a jar of marinara sauce, spaghetti sauce, whatever. I mean, you could use homemade if you like, but sometimes I'm doing this when I haven't got that. So I'm just grabbing a jar that I happen to have on the shelf. Standard marinara. And spoon as much into the jar as you can get. You might have to scoot the steak over a little to go into the bottom. Or you could just put a little into the bottom before you put in the meat. I didn't think about that. We're looking for complete coverage all the way up to the top. Tight seal. There should be very little air in there. I've got the sauce right up to the top and into the bath for 12 hours. All right, 13 point something hours. That's perfectly fine. And I know I'm wearing the same thing as yesterday. I do that sometimes. All right, out of the water with the jar. And it won't be too hot to handle. It's only 130 degrees. It's barely tap water, right? Now, after wiping down, I'm gonna carefully unlid. And if you didn't get too much air in there, there won't be any expansion, no, you know. Then dump everything out into a bowl. Yeah, it's gonna take a little pump action there. It's not very pretty. It doesn't sound very good, but it smells great. Now fish out the meat and just lay that on a rack. We'll deal with that in a minute. It's messy business. All right, come with me. Here I have a loaf of ciabatta. I'm gonna cut 2 pieces on the bias for bruschetta. It's what we're going to do with the leftover aromatics and sauce from the jar. First a little Parmesan, a little mozzarella, that'll help to plug the holes in the ciabatta. Standard off-the-shelf mozzarella, not buffalo mozz or anything. And then spoon on the goodness. You could also serve this, by the way, with pasta. I have, in fact, put this in a pan with some cooked ziti and cheese and baked it, and it's been delightful. More cheese, because more cheese. There. That is going to become our bruschetta. But before we do that, get yourself a big old cast iron pan or griddle and place over high heat for 5 minutes, because we are gonna sear this sucker. So, crust is a comin', but with a quick sear on a hot griddle, all right? Even though the cooking is really done. But I would really like that crust to be just a little bit salty. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little salt, season once again, even though there's plenty of salt on the inside. 2 minutes till you know. Always like to put a little bit of oil, in this case olive oil, on the meat before it goes onto the griddle. It's mostly to help aid contact, direct contact with the heat. You see this is a craggy surface. It's not really about bringing more fat to the party, as it is about heat conduction, although the fat, certainly tastes good. But don't worry about those little pieces of vegetation, it's fine. All right, straight down, firmly onto the griddle or pan. And after 1 minute, take a look. If it looks like this, flip it and let it go for another, I'd say, minute and 30. It always takes longer on the second side. And do give it a squish, because the meat will buckle and try to get up away from the pan. Now, while that's cooking, we will go ahead and cook the bruschetta. I just use a toaster oven for this. Say, 350, 10 minutes will do the trick. All right, when the meat is done and looks evenly browned on both sides, you can evacuate the griddle. Incredibly important to cut across the grain. You're gonna look at this and you're gonna wanna cut it this way. Not gonna do it. We're gonna cut counter the grain. That's gonna keep it, the fiber short and more tender in the mouth. Use a long knife and go on the diagonal. If you don't have a long enough knife, you could always cut this in half, but I want it like this. There you can see, it almost looks like brisket, but it's not. I'm not saying it's like brisket. What we have here is really an awesome and perfect dinner for two. And she'll never notice this piece is missing. I'm just gonna take some of these pieces, a couple of these, and just kind of chop that up. Right, I have here two entire outside skirt steaks, and each of these weighs right under a pound. One's 26 inches long, one 24, too long to handle really. So I'm gonna cut those in half. And why not use scissors? We've been using them since kindergarten. You can put them in your pocket. Can't do that with a chef's knife. Now those are going to go into a zip top bag, Ziploc, whatever you like to use, as long as it's fairly heavy duty. And I'm putting that inside another vessel just to have some physical support there. All right, meat goes in, all 4 pieces. And by the way, this is gonna be enough to feed 6 to 8 people, depending how you serve it. All right, marinade. Got my blender with all the ingredients. I'm starting with 4 scallions, and I do snip those roughly. I find if I just throw scallions in a blender, they can be stringy, so I rather cut them up. Not gonna use the top part of the grain. Don't need it. Next, 3 cloves of garlic. And then I'm gonna juice 2 medium limes. If you wanna measure it, we're looking for 2 ounces of freshly squeezed lime juice, and that's usually what I would get out of 2 limes, depending on the time of year. There. I really hate this squeezer. Can never get the, just get rid of it. Get rid of it, put it in the sink. There. Okay, next up on the ingredient list, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of blackstrap molasses, the dark kind of molasses. I mean, you could use brown sugar if you want, but I like the flavor here. Half a cup of olive oil, and it doesn't have to be extra virgin, just plain old olive oil. A teaspoon of ground cumin, make it a fat one, and a fat teaspoon of red pepper flake. And now we come to 3 ounces of a flavorful dark liquid. And I used to use exclusively soy sauce in this. Very salty, very flavorful. Also contains gluten, which my wife's not a huge fan of. I could use tamari, which is a version that doesn't have any wheat in it, or you could certainly use liquid aminos. These things have become very, very popular in the last, well, they've been popular since, I guess, pretty much the 70s. About the same amount of sodium, also, soy, but gluten-free. So you could use that, or my old standby and favorite for so many things would be Worcestershire sauce, which doesn't have soy, doesn't have wheat or any gluten. A lot of vinegar, tamarind. Fun. You can mix them up, use any of them as you wish. However, we do need a certain amount of salt in this. Worcestershire is lower in salt than either of these other 2. So today I'm going to go with, you know what? Let's go crunchy granola and use the liquid aminos. David Lynch liked cooking with this stuff a lot, and I miss him, so we'll go with it. So 3 ounces. And now we blend to combine. Nice and smooth. Kind of looks like some kind of bad milkshake, but it's emulsified. It's going to make a nice marinade. Just pour that right into the bag over the meat. And just get as much as you can. There. All right, now the trick is to seal the bag while getting out as much air as possible for maximum contact. Just kind of squish things around. I like that. So all we have to do now is park this up here on the shelf, right? No. This I do not consider to be safe containment for raw meat. So it's going to go back into there. Now, I just want to say, well, 4 hours to 24 hours. 4 hours minimum, 24 hours. I did it once for 48, doesn't matter. Now, I have gone on the record many times as saying that I don't believe in marinades, right? I don't believe that marinades penetrate meat very deeply. I don't think that they tenderize anything. But that's not the issue here. We're dealing with a piece of meat that's got a really huge amount of surface to mass ratio, right? It's more surface than mass. So what I'm looking to do is to actually just flavor that surface and kind of impregnate just the very kind of outer edge of it, especially with amino acids and sugars and other things that will brown very nicely and create flavorful compounds when it's time for the meat to meet the fire. Meat. I knocked over a thing that I had this sitting on. 4 hours minimum. 24 hours would be better. All right, time to, somebody will pick that up. Time to drain. And remember, we don't use marinades twice, do we? Bunch of reasons, just trust me. All right, just get the meat out and onto a rack. 1, 2, 3, 4. It smells so good that I just want to put my face in the bag. I'm not going to. We give these a quick pat down because we want to dry them off and give them a little extra salt so we'll get a better crust. And I just want to say that if I was a NASCAR, my hood would be saved for Bounty white Selecta-size paper towels. When a roll gets this small, I get nervous. They don't pay me to say this. Anyone handle paper towels better? Ever? They don't have to be perfectly dry. They're not gonna be. But all this liquid would certainly absorb a lot of heat. And now, to the great outdoors. I keep forgetting things. I'm gonna move the meat. Since we're starting a charcoal fire, what I like to do is I use a chimney starter, and just this is just like craft paper, butcher's paper, uncoated, that I'm gonna use to start it. But I always kind of put a little oil on the paper, which will make it burn like 15 times longer. And believe it or not, this one little wad of paper we'll ignite our entire charcoal. To the great outdoors! Yep, this time. Ah, the great outdoors. Otherwise known as the loading dock. Glamorous, isn't it? So I have everything I need here, and I'm just gonna use a kettle grill today for this procedure. Average, ordinary. We are gonna be using lump charcoal, so I've got my oiled butcher's paper. We'll go under there, and always give the bag a shake, because otherwise, don't laugh at me. Otherwise, all of the big pieces go to the top and the little ones go to the bottom. It's okay, you can laugh at me. Everybody's always laughing. There we go. We will ignite the paper. We'll give this about 15 minutes to get going. And in that meantime, what will I do? I will. Remember the leftover bread from the last dish? We'll do a mega bruschetta. 5 minutes. By the time this is gone, we'll be ready. Well, as you can see, our charcoal is piping hot. The pieces on the top aren't ready to go, but I don't necessarily want those to go yet. You might also notice that my cooking grate is not very clean at all. And what I should do something probably about that. Only where we're going, we don't need no stinking grate. There we go. Nope, don't need a grate, don't want a grate. But what I would like is a nice even bed of coals. So you know what? Now that I've got these going, I'm actually gonna add to it so that I get even more coals. Well, that's gonna take about 10 more minutes. What will I do? Want to speed things up? There we go. And then the steaks. And the steaks go like this. I'm counting in my head because I'm only going to let these have a minute. Notice my dirty pan is going on the bottom of my cart so that my clean pan, albeit covered with ashes, can come up. I've got my tongs, I've got my bread standing by. We're gonna need a nice big chunk of aluminum foil. Reynolds wrap, heavy duty aluminum foil. Nothing else comes between me and my food. Yeah, that'll do it. We want to double fold. That's been about 60 seconds. I'm gonna flip, and I don't really care if any pieces kind of stick on, of charcoal that is, don't care. Get on there. Charcoal's nothing but, that's hot. Right, that is it. Evacuating, and I'm just gonna stack everything right onto the foil. And if the little piece of charcoal ends up being stuck, you know what? I don't care. It's perfectly fine. It'll come off later. I'm gonna wrap this up tightly in that double layer of heavy duty Reynolds wrap, aluminum foil. Not as good as Bounty, but real close. Okay, while we're here, gosh darn it, this is what I was thinking, is that we would bruschetta ourselves into some more kind of nirvana here. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna move fast, because this is hot. Oh, heck yeah, that's hot. You coming or what? Come on. Oh, lid first. We'll save that for another day. Come on. So here's the way that I decided to do this. So I've made my made some bruschetta here out of the remaining ciabatta that we had from our other dish. So what I'm going to do is bring over the little packet, and I'm just going to drizzle the broth that has come off of that. And then out we come with our skirt steak. Just as we experienced before, this is best if it's cut against the grain. But it's kind of tricky because look at this stuff. It's really long, and to cut this way is going to be really kind of an odious thing to do. Though this is what I do. I take each piece, because you know what? Hey, look, nobody wants to eat. That's basically a piece of linguine, right? So we'll cut that in half. All right, going with the grain. Look at that doneness. Ah! And then I'm just kind of roll this up. This is almost like treating it like a chiffonade of basil or something. There we go. And now just gently slice across. Oh my gosh, look at that doneness. So this is really kind of going to present, oh, my nose itches. It's the worst thing that happens on a food show. I actually know a chef one time, and I swear to God this is true. I'm not going to say who they were, and it's been 20 years, who was in the middle of this live thing and cutting up, doing this butchery on a leg of lamb, and went to scratch his nose and thought better of it, so he scratched. Yeah. You seen that scene in Chinatown? It's kind of like that. So there, that's really kind of, I could not ask for a more perfect doneness. So what I'm going to do now, because I'm just vile, an opportunist, is see you next time on Alton Brown Cooks badass shit like this.